Good day everyone, I am Jessa Andiel Nyoda from Malungon Central Elementary School SPED Center. This day we will talk about developing learners' fluency. And our objectives are, first, state the importance of developing the fluency among the learners. Second, show the relationship between fluency and comprehension. And third, identify different fluency building strategies effective for developing reading fluency. And now let's have our warm-up. I read, you listen, and we write. Now, for our first word, I want you to prepare a sheet of paper and a ball pen. The first word is Q. Again, Q. The second word is lingerie. Again, lingerie. Our third word is rendezvous. Again, rendezvous. And for our last word is quay. Again, quay. Now, let's see if you answered the correct answer or if you spell the words correctly. Let's start with the first word. Q. Did you spell the word correctly? Very good. Now for the second word. Lingerie. Did you get it right? That's fantastic. Our third word is rendezvous. Did you get the right answer? Very good. And the last word is quay. Did you get it? Very good. Now, let's spell and pronounce the words in the screen. Let's start with the first word. Beret. Again, say it with me. Beret. The second word is chassis. Can you say it with me? Chassis. The third word is chateau. Chateau. The next word is facade. Facade. Another word is fuselage. Can you say it with me? Fuselage. And the next word is meringue. Let's say it together. Meringue. And the next word is soiree. Soiree. And our last word is vignette. Can you please say it with me? Vignette. Okay, now, did you do well in the activity? If you do, you are free to write down your comment in our comment box. What do you think about the words? Is it easy or is it hard? Please comment your answer in the comment box. And what do you think about the way these words were pronounced? Okay, now let's have our activity. There are 5 different reading activities to be played. You're going to identify what kind of reading activity you heard. The first one can correctly identify the reading activity will get a 10 pesos load. So are you ready? I want you to listen carefully and I want you to identify what reading activity will be played. Are you ready? That's great. Now let's have the first audio.
Sick by Shel Silverstein.
I cannot go to school today,
said little Peggy Ann McKay.
I have the measles.
and the mumps,
a gash,
a rash,
and purple bumps.
What do you think is the first audio? What kind of reading activity it is? If your answer is choral reading, then you're right. Now, let's proceed to our second audio.
Once upon a time, there was a girl who was called Little Red Riding Hood because of the red cape she always wore. She lived with her mother and father in a cottage near the forest. One day, her mother told her that her grandmother was feeling unwell.
I'll bring my grandmother some cake to help her feel better. My mother and father have always told me not to talk to strangers or make stops on the way to grandmother's house, so I'll have to be careful.
Little Red Riding Hood started to walk into the woods to her grandmother's house.
I want you to listen carefully. What do you think is the second audio? What kind of reading activity it is? Is it choral reading? Or is it reader's theater? Correct! It is a reader's theater. Now, let's proceed to our third audio.
I am a snail. I am a snail, and my telltale is what I leave behind. Believe me when I say I'm built this way. My tummy slime is scummy. I'm a crawling mess of stickiness, and in my wake, make no mistake, is my disturbing signature. Nice work following along.
For your second read, we will both read aloud together.
What kind of reading activity it is? Is it speech choir or just chant? Or model fluent reading? And the correct answer is model fluent reading. Now, let's have our fourth audio.
Turtles! Divers! And sorry! And sorry! I could not travel boat! And be one traveler! No, I should.
What kind of reading activity it is? Is it speech choir or just chant? You got it right. It is speech choir. Now, let's proceed to our fifth audio. Listen carefully.
Who took the cookie from the cookie jar? Panda took the cookie from the cookie jar.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Not me.
Then who?
Rabbit.
Who took the cookie from the cookie jar? Rabbit took the cookie from the cookie jar.
What kind of reading activity it is? Amazing! It is just chant. Congratulations to all the winners! And now, how do you find the activity? Please comment down your answers. And what are the different reading activity you've heard? Now, let's learn more about fluency. What is fluency? Fluency is the ability to read smoothly, easily, and readily with freedom from word recognition problems. And that is from Harris and Hedges, 1981. Fluency, reading quickly, accurately, and with expression. It combines rate and accuracy, requires automaticity, and of course, it includes reading with prosody. So when we say reading with prosody, of course, it should have a proper expression, intonation, and pronunciation. Now, fluent reading, what does the fluent reading sound like? So fluent reading It flows like, or fluent reading flows. It sounds smooth with natural pauses. So we have to take note of that fluent reading, it flows and it sounds smooth with natural pauses. And a fluent reader can, first, read at rapid rate. So it should have pace. Pace means it is the speed at which oral or silent reading occurs. Second, it should have automatically, or it should be automatically recognized words. It has smoothness and accuracy, efficient decoding skills. And third one, it phrase correctly. So when we say phrase correctly, it has a prosody. So again, prosody, it is the ability to read a text orally using appropriate pitch, stress, and phrasing. And this is very important to have a fluent reader. And now, let's have the third activity. Let's pause. I want you to read also the paragraph with me. So let's follow the pause. Out there, in the midst of the snow, there sat a woman in long black clothes, and she said, "Death has been in thy chamber, and I saw him hasten away with the little child. He goes faster than the wind, and he never brings back what he takes. Oh, only tell me which way he went," said the mother. "Tell me the way, and I shall find him." So in this activity, we exercise pausing. So we have to pause for a while so that we can comprehend, or we can say it well, or para maintindihan para maintindihan yung binabasa natin. So it is very important to take a pause. Hindi pwede na dire-diretso yung pagbabasa kasi hindi siya naintindihan at sometimes nag-iiba yung meaning. So we have also to take note of that. Now, why is reading fluency important? Bakit ba importante ang fluency? So it is said by National Institute for Literacy, or NIFL, that fluency provides a bridge between word recognition and comprehension. Take note of that fluency provides a bridge between the word recognition and comprehension. Now, when a reader is less fluent, it needs to allocate more resources to decoding. But if the reader is more fluent, he or she have more resources available for comprehension. So when we say less fluent readers, kailangan niya pang parang i-identify kung ano yung word na binabasa niya. Hindi niya madire-diretso. But if the reader is more fluent, syempre, pagtutuunan niya ng panahon yung pag-intindi na doon sa binabasa na. Hindi na pag-identify kung ano yung word na binabasa niya. And that is the difference, or that is the importance of fluency. And fluency, and this is how fluency and reading comprehension looks like or differ from each other. So fluency doesn't ensure comprehension, but comprehension is difficult without fluency. So, hindi ibig sabihin na kapag mabilis kang magbasa, ay naiintindihan mo na yung binabasa mo. But, comprehension or pag-intindi sa mga binabasa natin ay mahirap din kapag wala tayong fluency. So, dapat magkasama talaga yung reading comprehension at saka yung fluency. Okay. So, there are some reasons why children fail to read fluently. And one of this is lack of exposure. Ano ibig sabihin ng lack of exposure? Siyempre, hindi siya na-expose sa mga different reading activities. The children or the child was being deprived to join in any reading activities that could enhance her or his reading skills. That is lack of exposure. Next one is the good reader syndrome. Ano itong the good reader syndrome? Good reader syndrome is, ang bilis niya lang magbasa. Dire-diretso but without pacing, proper pacing, without intonation, and hindi siya accurate. Basta mabilis lang siyang magbasa, dire-diretso, hindi nakakakilala ng period, hindi nakakakilala ng comma, and that is the good reader syndrome. So kapag mabilis, hindi ibig sabihin na kapag mabilis magbasa, yung ating mga learners ay fluent reader na siya. Next one is lack of practice time. Kasi hindi sila nasasanay na mag-practice magbasa. They are doing as work na kung saan ay hindi na pra-practice yung kanilang pagbabasa. That is lack of practice time. And then is frustration, which is medyo visible sa mga schools natin. Marami itong mga frustration readers. Those are slow readers. Yung hindi nag-focus pa sila sa decoding and they cannot focus on comprehension since hindi pa sila talaga masyadong marunong magbasa or they are slow readers. And the missing the why of reading. What is missing the why of reading? Yung hindi nila alam kung bakit kailangan magbasa. They doesn't know the importance of reading. Okay, that is from Allington, 1983. Now, let's proceed to the guidelines for instruction. So, provide children with opportunities to read and reread. Again, let us emphasize in that, reread and read. A range of stories and informational text by reading on their own, partner reading, or choral reading. So, this is one of the guidelines for instruction. So, we have to give children or our learners a range of stories and informational text by reading on their own, by peer reading, or choral reading. For example, I'm glad our house is a little house, not too tall, not too wide. I'm glad the hovering butterflies. Feel free to come inside by Christopher Morley. So that is an example. So next one is we have to provide children with opportunities to read and reread a range of stories and informational text kagaya nung kanina. So dito na-emphasize na yung word. Introduce a new or difficult word to children and provide practice reading these words before they read on their own. So kapag na-introduce na-read na nila, then na-reread na nila, so we have to find out what are the difficult words in that paragraph or in that sentence. So for example, kagaya ng binigay kanina, so the word that was being highlighted is the word glad. So we have to practice on reading that word para ma-familiarize ng bata and let them read that on their own. Okay. Include opportunities for children to hear a range of text, read fluently, and with expression. This is very important kasi as a teacher, we have also to model it on what is the correct way of reading a sentence or a paragraph para masunod ng mga bata. So they have to hear a range of text. So sometimes we have to read stories. And of course, we have also to provide a proper expression in reading those stories para din ma-imitate ng mga bata. Masunod nila kung paano natin binabasa yung mga text or yung mga stories. And for example, this one, how are you going to do it? So of course, you have to model it. So paano? You have to provide the proper expression. So let me do it first, and I want you also to practice doing it also. Oh, Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rock. The prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting. While follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh, heart, 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 oh, the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold, and dead. So you've provided the proper expression on how to read the paragraph so that yung mga bata natin ay magaya din nila, ito pala, ganito pala yun, kasi may exclamation point, kasi may period, kasi may comma, kaya ganito yung gagawin. Okay. And of course, we have to suggest ideas for building homeschool connections that encourage families to become involved actively in children's reading development. So, hindi natin pwedeng suluhin. So, kailangan we have dapat partner din yung family or community. So, anong dapat gagawin? So, example of this is we have to provide them a reading log. So, what does a reading log looks like? So, ito, nakalagay dyan, book title, number of words, main topic, then adult signature. So, ito yung book title, yung book na babasahin ng bata. So, ilang number of words doon, at saka ano yung main topic, at saka signature ng adult, which is para i-prove na nabasa niya na yung certain book. Okay, now, let's proceed. Encourage periodic timing of children's oral reading and recording of information about individuals' children reading rate and accuracy. And of course, we have to model fluent reading, then have students reread the text on their own. Okay, so hindi natin pwede na tayo lang parate. So we have also to encourage our pupils to read as well. So pagkatapos natin, kasi nga magmo-model lang naman tayo, and then we will let our children to read it also. And we have to provide the individual reading rate and accuracy para makita natin kung may improvement ba yung bata. Okay. Relatively short text and probably 50 to 200 words lang depending on the fluency level of the students. So syempre pag hindi pa masyadong fluent kasi we are catering the slow readers or non-readers, so mas maigi, mas mababa lang yung number of words. Use a variety of reading materials, of course, including stories, that is very important, non-fiction, and poetry. And of course, para mag-enjoy din yung mga bata at saka para maalam nila or para may ano na sila idea kung paano yung babasahin yung mga text ninyo. And what students should read? Relatively short text, ayan, kanina, na ano na natin, a variety of reading materials. So, poems are suitable to fluency practice because poems are for children are often short and contain rhythm. So mas maganda yung mga tula, rhyme and meaning, para madali din ang mag-practice at to make it fun and rewarding. Kasi madali lang sa kanila mag-memorize. And now let's proceed to instructional strategies. And this is very important. What are the different instructional strategies that we could have in fluency? First one is the model fluent reading. So what is the model fluent reading? First, a teacher or a tutor reads aloud and models for his or her students. Tayo muna yung magbabasa and we have to model it. So pag nagbasa ka, for example, pag nabasa ka ng stories or ng sentence, dapat fluent ka din. Dapat meron siyang proper expression and proper pacing. Kasi pag wala, masusunod yun ng mga learners. Okay, so that is model fluent reading. So an example of model fluent reading is this one, a story. So I want you to listen carefully. I will read the story. And then pag natapos kong basahin or pag natapos niyong basahin, you let your pupils or your learners read the story on their own. So ako muna, then so tapos sabayan nyo yung bata, and then let them read it on their own. So the example is Jet's pet. So I will read it first. Okay, so this is how you do it. One Saturday morning, Jet was alone in her room. Her cat was sleeping while she was drawing it. First, she draws her cat wearing a hat. "Oh, what a lovely hat it got," she said. Next, Jet colored the picture red and white. "Did I put the right color on the cat?" she asked. Then she wrote a story under it. "This is my pet. It is Mizzy. I love Mizzy." So, kung napapansin niyo, may pause siya at saka syempre yung proper expression. So kapag may exclamation point, so alam niyo na mayroong rising intonation yon. Pag may question, syempre falling intonation. So dapat ganon, hindi na binabasa mo lang siya ng dire-diretso without proper expression. Kasi nga, minomodel mo siya sa bata para masunod nila. And next one is the dramatic reading. So what is a dramatic reading? It is a public reading or recitation of work of a literature as a poem or a play, with an interpretative or dramatic use of the voice and often of gestures. So ito siya, yung mag-change yung mga boses. That is dramatic reading. So for example, pag narrator, ito yung tono ng boses niya. Kapag iba naman yung nagsasalita, for example, an animal, when you're reading a story, so you have to change the voice. So that is what we call a dramatic reading. Okay, you have to select a story. Make sure it is one that your audience can appreciate with structure that will be easy to understand. Syempre, slow learners sila, so we have to pick out a story which is simple. Okay, so a dramatic reading, ito na, you have to select a story, analyze it, act each part, build toward the climax, rehearse, and perform the reading. So this is very ideal kung pupunta tayo sa community and we're going to teach our children there para mag-enjoy sila. So we have to let them do the dramatic reading. Okay, next one is the Reader's Theater. It is a dramatic presentation of a written work in a script form. And I know you are familiar with the Reader's Theater kasi when you were still, I hope when you were still in high school or in college, you're doing it also. So rehearse and perform a play for peers or others. Students play characters who speak lines or a narrator who shares necessary background information, and that is a reader's theater. And next one is the choral reading, or we have the speech choir. So this one, students read along as a group with a teacher or another fluent adult reader, 3 to 5 times total, though not necessarily on the same day. So, choral reading, yung sabay-sabay na pagbabasa para ma-practice yung reading skills ng mga bata. Okay, so, this continue until students are able to read the text independently. So, pagpatuloy lang na sabay-sabay silang magbasa at kapag nakita na natin that they can read it on their own independently, so we have to ask our learners to read it on their own. And this is an example of choral reading, and it is a poem, a goldfish. So goldfish, goldfish, swimming all around. Goldfish, goldfish, never make a sound. Pretty little goldfish never can talk. All it does is wiggle when it tries to walk. So as you can observe, mga simple words lang. Kasi yun lang naman talaga dapat para sa kanila. So we have to choose the words. So pwede din tayong gumawa ng sarili nating tula para basahin ng mga bata. So make sure na depende sa kung ano yung level nila. Kung mahirap sa kanila, then we have to choose another word na mas simpler. Okay, so just chant. Just chant, it is where students read the text following a clear, steady beat and rhythm. So meron siyang beat and rhythm. And this is very enjoyable sa mga bata. Kasi most of our children, mahilig na sila sa mga rap, di ba? May mga beat yon. So parang ganun din yung sa just chant. This helps improve their speaking and listening comprehension skills while reinforcing the language structures of everyday situation. So that is just chant. So students consequently become aware of natural rhythmic pattern in English. So they are doing it and they are enjoying it at the same time, natututo din sila. Okay. So texts used for just chant usually have repetitive words and phrases and target words. So may paulit-ulit doon na mga words sa just chant. So poems with lines that have uniform measure and can be recited following a steady beat and rhythm may be used for just chant. Kagaya kanina yung sa Who Stole the Cookie or Who Stole the Cookie in the Cookie Jar. So, paulit-ulit lang ng yung mga words doon. So, this is an example of a just chant. Shoes and Socks by Carolyn Graham. What do you wear on your head? A hat. A hat. What do you wear on your hands? Gloves. Gloves. What do you wear on your feet? Socks. Socks. Shoes and socks. Shoes and socks. So, pwede nyo siyang sabayan ng clapping. For example, what do you wear on your head? A hat. A hat. So, pwedeng paulit-ulit. So, that is an example of just chant. Now, another strategies. Repeated reading. Students reread a relatively short passage, 500 to 200 words. Kanina, natakal na din natin yan. And after you model how to read the text, you must have the students reread it. So after modeling it, Hayaan natin silang basahin ito ulit. By doing this, the students are engaging in repeated reading. Okay, student-adult reading. Student reads one-on-one with an adult, and the adult reads the text first, providing the students with a model of fluent reading. The student reads the same passage to the adult, with the adult providing assistance and encouragement. So yan, partner, student and adult reading. So pwede si ate, pwede si kuya, si mama, si papa, si tito, or si tita. Okay. The student rereads the passage and until the reading is quite fluent. So, pabasahin ng pabasahin hanggang maging fluent na sila. Then, the other one is the partner reading. So, what it is where students work in pairs to practice rereading text. So, by doing this regularly, students' reading time increases and exposure to a model of fluent reading partner becomes common. So, we have to be aware also na piliin natin kung sino yung ipa-partner natin. So, para hindi masyado magkailangan, as much as possible, so, for example, pag babae, so i-partner lang din natin siya sa babae or sa atin na babae. Kapag lalaki, i-partner lang din sa lalaki para hindi maiwasan yung ilangan nila or being uncomfortable with each other. Okay, before using partner reading for repeated reading, do the following. So, ano yung gagawin natin? First, we have to designate reading partners. Piliin natin kung sa tingin natin na mas okay siya, mas alam niya na, so i-partner natin siya doon sa mas slow pa. Partner more fluent with less fluent readers. Ito yon, i-partner yung mas fluent sa less fluent para matulungan yung isa. And then select appropriate reading materials. Ano yung mga appropriate reading materials? So when we say appropriate doon sa kanilang level. So hindi natin sila bibigyan ng mga masyadong mahirap na mga words. Assemble materials and implement the program. Okay, so audio-assisted reading. Students read along in their books as they hear a fluent reader read the book on an audio tape. So ito siya, audio. You need a book of a student's independent reading level and a tape recording of the book read by a fluent reader at about 80 to 100 words per minute. The tape should not have sound effects or music. Purely reading lang. Reading along with the tape should continue until the student is able to read the book independently without the support of the tape. So, magiging fluent na sila. So, giving students opportunities to talk, introduce themselves. This is an example paano sila maging fluent reader. Of course, you're going to ask them, sige nga, magpakilala ka, can you please introduce yourself? So, in that way, napapractice na din yung kanilang fluency. Describe events, places, or people. Kasi gusto nila yun. Sige nga, sabihin mo nga sa akin, saan kayo pumunta? Anong itsura ng pinuntahan ninyo? So, in that way, para lang kayo nagchichikahan, pero at the same way, nabibuild mo na din yung kanilang skills sa reading. Tsaka, of course, their confidence. Describe people. For example, sige nga, i-describe mo nga si mama mo, sino yung idol mo, or something like that. And an event or vacation, saan kayo pumunta, ipa-describe natin yan sa mga bata para ma-practice sila. Okay. Kasi gusto nila yung may nakikinig, gusto nila salita lang sila ng salita. Next is describe an experience. Ayan, retell stories, explain a process, an idea or a concept. Ayan, yan yung mga example kung saan nabibigyan natin sila ng opportunities to talk. And pretend to be a host. Yan, mag-show kayo dyan or anong gagawin ninyo. An MC for an occasion, for example. So, when to fit in fluency practice? Kailan ba natin gagawin yung fluency practice? Before school? During school? During lunchtime? Recess? School-wide reading time? After school? At home? Or kahit kailan at kahit saan? Pwede nating i-practice yung fluency. So, for our conclusion, when we say fluency is important because it is related to, I want you to type your answer in the comment box. Fluency is important because it is related to blank. Next is reading fluency can be developed by engaging students in. So, please comment down. You type your answer on the comment box. And you may have tangible wealth, as what the saying goes, or a quote, You may have tangible wealth untold, caskets of jewels and coffers of gold. Richer than I you can never be. I had a mother, a teacher who reads to me. By Strickland Gilliland. Thank you so much and good day everyone.